Good morning. Today is Thursday, April 9th, 2015. I'm really excited to talk with you today. I haven't spoken to you since we launched the new My Taught You website. I hope that you are enjoying it. Just to give you some updates, I will be extending the ask page. So as it stands right now, on the question answer section, ask me anything. Only a certain amount of answers and questions are coming up. I am working on getting that extended. It's a little bit more of a process than I thought it would be. So if you want more answers to all the questions, you can go to ask.fm/MyLeakTeal, and over 1,000 answers to your questions are there. In the meantime, I'm working on extending that so that you can see that all on my page within the next couple weeks. So that's just a heads up, housekeeping on that. Also, we'll be continuing to update those shareable quotes if you really like those. Thank you so much for sharing those. Appreciate it. The journals, I have not made another reorder of those. So as it stands right now, I'm just going to sell through what I have. And so it's looking like limited edition. There are still plenty of them for you. So don't feel like you need to scramble. But I do want you to know that I likely won't bring this particular journal back because, of course, I have an idea for another one that I want to try to get out this summer. Today's podcast is about how I really manage my day. Seems so fitting with everybody sharing their journal photos. I'd love to know how you're using it. I'd love to know your thoughts about the podcast. I do have a second private podcast that I am going to release likely today. I just need to listen to it again and make sure the sound quality is decent because I recorded it with my friend again and I didn't realize that the sound quality was a little But I think a couple of you wrote me on Instagram and were saying that, talking about the glorification of busy. I'm so busy, and I know that a lot of people do it. And I think even at one point in my life, I feel like I was doing it too. Most days I really do feel like I'm busy, but I think that there's a way to get things done, or people are not making the best use of their time. And so I've noticed that on so many occasions with either my employees, people who work, people who I make contracts to do work around my house or work in my house or whatever. We typically don't use our time well. So I am going to share even more of my tried and true tips and tricks of how I get the most out of my day. It is 7:57 right now. I have to be to the gym before 9 o'clock. So I am sitting here with a cup of coffee in my workout clothes, knowing that as soon as I finish recording this and uploading this, which shouldn't take more than a half hour, that I will be out of the house by no later than 8:30. On my way to the gym takes me about 15 minutes. So I will get a workout in from like 8:45 to 9:45 and then be in my office by 10 a.m. And I believe I have a call at 10 a.m. So with that being said, I just gave you some intel on what I'm doing today, but I'm checking my calendar just to make sure. Okay, my call is actually at 11, so I think that's why I knew that I didn't have to rush so fast out the door this morning. I've got an 11 o'clock, a 12 o'clock, and then I have my standing therapy at 5 o'clock, which I leave at 4 o'clock, and then I have the Scion Motivate Tour happening tonight at the Foundry. I am the second speaker behind the lady who started Candy Cakes, who I am excited to meet because I typically do not like cake. So ever since I was a little girl, my mom would take me to birthday parties, and I never ate birthday cake because I don't like it. But for some strange reason, I really like candy cakes and a handful of other like cakes and desserts. But it's so rare that I like them. So I'm excited to meet her because anybody that I've tried about maybe 3 or 4 of her different cupcakes. So I cannot wait to meet her and see what she's putting in them that makes them so epically amazing. But that's tonight, the Scion Motivate Tour. Okay. Another thing you guys asked me about was confidence and like speaking. And so I'm going to try to do that next. But anyway, on to how I really manage my day. After I just told you all of the stuff that I have happening today, I wanted to share some of my tools with you. So I don't know how many people use the calendar function on their phones. I have an iPhone. I had a Droid for like 5 seconds, but I had to go back to iPhone because I sync up all my calendars with the iPhone. So I use iCal, and it comes on the laptop that I'm using right now. I have a MacBook Air. I have an iMac at my office. I use an iPad mini from time to time, but I always have my phone. And so I have found iCal to be easiest for me. And it also is easy for my assistant through Google Calendar. So we sync up the Google Calendar to my iCal, and that way, Kendall and my assistant can essentially put anything on my calendar in real time, and it shows up. So she has scheduled things on my calendar while I'm out and updated it with the address, and I'm able to literally go into my calendar, tap the address, and get the directions to where I'm going. So phone number. So when I have conference calls, all I have to do is go to my calendar no matter where I am in the world, and all of my information is there. And so that really helps me stay organized. So if people are wondering how I manage, I take in a lot of things in a day, a lot of things in a week. So between Monday and Saturday, I have 3 speaking engagements. Monday, I had the TED Talk. Was it Monday? Tuesday. My bad. Tuesday, I had the TED Talk. Today, I have the Scion. I'm talking about, my topic is, for the Scion Motivate Tour, is how to build on your strengths and hire against your weaknesses. So if you're going to be around, that's what I'll be talking about. And then Saturday, I am connecting with Candy for her masterclass. And I don't know if you guys know this, Candy of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I actually met her when I was assisting Kim when I first moved to Atlanta 6 years ago. So I met her then. I liked her then. She came on, I think, the second season of the show when I started working with Kim, and I really like her. We've kept in touch, and so I'm excited to do this masterclass with her this weekend. So I am pretty busy, but the calendar, with the help of my assistant and 2 other people on my team, have access to my calendar. So Diana, who's my right hand, she rarely puts stuff on my calendar, but she goes on my calendar to see what I'm doing or why I haven't called her back or why I'm not responding to emails. She'll be able to tell if I'm traveling or if I'm in meetings and stuff like that. Another cool app that I discovered through somebody else who's ultra tech savvy, James Andrews, who I did a podcast with him. He's at Key Influencer. He is like Mr. Tech Madness. He was running 10 minutes late for a meeting recently, and I got this email and it says I'm running late, and it was using the app Tempo. Tempo. T is in Tom, EMPO. I really like this app, and I use it because if I go into the app right now, it tells me what the temperature is going to be today, which is so helpful, when you're getting up in the morning thinking about what you're going to wear for the day. So I've got, today it's 87. It has all my reminders set, has all of my contacts queued up, has all of the directions queued up. And it even has, like yesterday I had a meeting with the designer. It linked to their LinkedIn page and their Facebook. So if I want to read about them before the meeting. And then I've been using it, and even after I had a meeting, so I had a lunch meeting Saturday with Saptosa, who's like an awesome PR whiz. And it shot me a quick little note and was like, how did your meeting with Saptosa go? Do you want to follow up with her? Which is so cool because sometimes, a couple after a meeting, you want to say, hey, everything was so great. Thank you again. Let's connect. So try out Tempo and let me know what you think about that. So I'm going to look through my phone really quickly to see if there's any other things that I use that you may find useful. I definitely am using the calendar. I'm definitely using Tempo. That's probably, in terms of organization, all of the stuff that I use. Oh, and I use Umail, Youmail, Umail. I cannot stand voicemail, okay? Don't like voicemail. So Umail transcribes voicemail and sends it via text message. So if somebody calls me and leaves me a voicemail, I literally get a text message with it. So it doesn't always give me the exacts, but sometimes it's messed up, but I can make out what people are saying, and I never have had to listen to voicemail. And I've had that for 5 years now. 5 years I've been using Umail. It's a couple bucks a month, transcribes your email. And if I want to listen to it, I can go into the app and play it. But as it stands, I've got 117 voicemails that I have not listened to, but I have transcribed them. So those are some of the things that I use to kind of cut back on time. Second thing I do is how I structure my phone calls versus my in-person meetings. for what I do, a lot of communication and contact is very important. So, like I said, it is not uncommon that I have calls today. I actually have a call with Shea Moisture and a call with Carol Sauter today. I have calls with these people today because it's just important that, you know, whether they need me for something or I need them for something, um, that I schedule the time because I am not the kind of person that takes off the cuff phone calls. It's rare that somebody just calls me because I typically don't answer unless it's scheduled, you know, unless it's somebody in my sort of day-to-day vortex. So, I mean, there are probably, I use the VIP feature on my phone as well. So, the VIP email, the VIP phone stuff, there are about 5 to 6 people in my daily VIP stuff, people who, if they call me, I'll answer. But other than that, I typically don't because I like to stay on track with my phone calls and I like to get as many done as I can. So I usually pile up phone calls as early as I possibly can. If it's West Coast business, I usually am trying to do it later, but I try to take my phone calls early, get everything knocked out of the way so that I can get actual work done. Some days I am on the phone all day and it's tough to get my work done, so I try to get my phone calls in as early as I possibly can. And it's just good to get people stay top of mind with everything. On the days that I have really important meetings and what I'm wearing is important, I try to do that on days that I'm not working out. So I work out typically Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I don't really like doing meetings, in-person meetings on those days if I have to dress up. So Tuesdays and Thursdays when I'm not in my workout clothes are typically the days that I will make sure that I do my in-person meetings and so on. So it's all scheduled around doing that. I do believe that it's very, very important to exercise. So you know that I mentioned that I do work out. And so I get that done before I start my work day. 1 hour, 3 days a week, 1 hour before I start work, I exercise. And I also have begun to offer that to my employees, which and they have opted for me paying for their personal training over money, which is exciting because now that the girls are working out before work, you know, the days of walking in sluggish on a Monday are over. By the time they get to the office on a Monday morning, they're already fired up because they've been up an hour early. Their juices are flowing. They've worked out. I think they love the way their bodies are looking. They're getting all toned up. And I have found that as beneficial as it is for me, it is beneficial for them. So exercise. And then we schedule our things around the workout, you know, if we have to dress up, and I allow them to wear their workout clothes as well. But we probably got to get a little bit jazzier about that, but we'll talk about it. Number 3, travel. Depending on what it is, I will fly in the day of. So living in Atlanta, I can pretty much fly anywhere, Texas, Chicago, New York, Florida, within 2 hours. So it's not uncommon for me to get on the first flight out. That's important too. If you want to try to save money or save time and you don't need a hotel, take the 5 or 6 o'clock flight in the morning. It's brutal sometimes trying to do it flying back. I've done it. It's the dumbest thing I've ever done is a 5 o'clock flight after like a dinner meeting when there's wine. Every time I do that, I'm like, why? But fly in the day of, if you take the first flight, you give yourself room to be canceled a couple times. So that has happened before. So if I set up myself on the first flight, I get there early. You know, maybe I will have coffee before my meeting, but it's always nice to just get there early. If it's, I don't want to say lower importance because if I'm traveling, it has some importance, but if it's something that cannot move, like if it's an event that I'm flying in for, something that I can't push, then I will fly in the night before. So if it's something that I know that I can't risk calling and saying, hey, I'm an hour behind and my flight got canceled or delayed, I fly in the day of. Otherwise, I fly in the night before. No matter what I'm in town for, I always schedule meetings around that. So if I go to New York for something, I am always going to take meetings while I'm there. It's just what I do. If I go to Houston, no matter where I go, if I go to Chicago, if I go to LA, I always schedule meetings. And those meetings are not always like, I think my mom probably didn't understand this and an ex-boyfriend didn't understand this. Like when I take meetings, everybody thinks it's like business meetings with PowerPoints and this and that. Sometimes I'll take meetings meaning I'm keeping in touch with or massaging my contacts. So it's not uncommon for me to, if I'm in town and I know that there's somebody that I just want to stay in touch with or just need to stay top of mind with, schedule coffee, schedule dinner, schedule whatever. So sometimes when I travel, it's not uncommon for me to have 10 meetings in a day in New York or 8 meetings in a day. That's just what I do. 2 breakfast meetings. So coffee, I'll do a coffee meeting, I'll do a breakfast meeting, I'll do 2 lunch meetings, I'll do just regular office visits. So between 2 and like 4 o'clock, I'll do office visits with people, 2 to 5. After 5 is when I start cocktails, a couple of cocktails meeting, have a drink here, have a drink there, and like even 2 dinner meetings. It's possible. That's what I do. Also for travel, status matters. So be loyal to an airline so that you can get all the perks, because I fly Delta and I get tons of perks. So I don't have to get there as early because I get to fly through the priority line. Another tip is always sit in the aisle as front. When you book in your flight and you're traveling and you're pushing the limit with your time, sit close to the front in the aisle, because you notice trying to get off the plane when everybody starts, as soon as the flight lands, everybody clicks off their seatbelt and races to the front. I always sit as close to the front as I can if I'm not sitting first class, and I always sit in the aisle because I'm not here to play these games with you. Because sometimes just that adds an extra 35 to 40 minutes not picking the right seat on the plane. So I'll seat in the front. I want to talk to you about how I use my journal. I actually had to use my Learn More to Earn More journal this weekend. I didn't want to start using it until I finished this Kate Spade journal that I'm using, but I could not find it. So this weekend I broke it out, and so I just try to look at my patterns of how I'm using it this time. And I'm using it for checking my finances, really. So I'm doing really good. That was one of my goals this year. I started doing this, I want to say February. It's really trying to keep my finances organized because I just had them all over the place. Keeping everything in one hub, keeping my checks organized, and really managing the inflow and outflow of cash, because it's just so busy in and out that I was not paying attention. So I'm doing really well with that. I like to make sure that I do calls with my wealth manager. So I talked to him yesterday, which is really great. Really working on pumping up my savings this year. So last year was the year of travel. I did a lot of travel, if anybody followed me. I probably spent 2 salaries worth of travel last year. Insane. But I needed it. I also use it to check in. Like when there are people that I need to check in with, I have to make sure that I write that down, because I will forget all the time, and I'm trying something new, doing a Crowbox photo shoot, and I'm not going to be there. It's tomorrow. And so making sure that everything's in place for that. And I'm really excited to see how it goes, because then I may never go to another photo shoot again. Trusting the people around me to do what they're supposed to do, and really just trying to make sure that I do more orange. I think even something that I do is I get addicted to using the yellow, like touching stuff and not finishing it, but just being like, oh my God, I touched it. So this week, as the week closes out, I'm having my orange. And I see some of you have switched up the colors for the method. I'm just like having that out and just being like, let me finish this. I don't want to touch it. Let me close it out. So that's what I've been doing this week with the journal. And then just to end the glorification of busy, I say, 5th thing, take some time off. When you use your time wisely, you should free up your time. So I use a lot of my time, so I don't feel as bad or as guilty when I choose not to do things, or I choose to take days off or even weeks off. So I'm about 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks from a week-long vacation where I plan not to do any work. I was reading this quote yesterday. So the girls in the office, we've been reading Basic Black by Kathy Black. We actually finished it yesterday. I had already read it, but I wanted them to read it. And she said in there, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And I think, people who are constantly doing stuff and on the move, they're going to easily switch it into the vortex. So there's not anything wrong with getting things done and staying busy. But you don't want that. Everybody's like this fake busy hustling thing, which I don't quite understand, but I get it. Well, what do I mean? I don't quite understand, but I get why I think people do it, or think it's a cool thing to do and say. But some things that you can do is a digital detox. I think that it's so easy to see what everybody else is doing and feel like you need to be doing the same thing, and I'm doing this and that. But take some time off and read. That's a great way to do stuff on the weekends. That's what I like to do. I like to read. I like to watch documentaries. Sleep is really important. I got up at 3:30 this morning, and I couldn't get back to sleep. And so I went online. I posted a couple things. And I was remembering that, like, for 4 to 5 years in a row, that's what I used to do, get up at 3:30. I just get up. But sleep It's super important. So, because I used to wake up so early, I go to bed really early. So, people are usually shocked. I'm usually in bed by 10 o'clock. I'm usually in bed and closing my eyes by 10 o'clock. I try to go earlier. If I can get in bed for 9:30, I'm winning. It doesn't happen as much, but I still try. And sometimes, if on Fridays, if I can escape everybody, all kinds of people, I'm in the bed by 8 on Fridays. I try to be. I like to be. I haven't been in a while, but that's what I like to do. I like to try to get some extra sleep on Friday nights. Um, Burnout is real. So you have to schedule some breaks in all of this management. And so that's what I said. I'm looking forward to May, spending some time in Hawaii. So, as always, don't hesitate to tweet me, Instagram me, ask offend me, because I've got those questions queued up and I've been trying to answer some of those every other day. Let me know how you're using the journal, Instagram, tag my taught you. I'm going to go through that hashtag as often as I can and take a look at what you're doing. Like I said, we're going to try to drop that second podcast today. I just got to listen to it again. And I will continue to do these for you. Any topics, anything you want to hear, give me a holler. And, if you like the new website, visit it, mytaughtyou.com. Thanks, guys. Bye.